Hi guys! Again, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Ray Ocampo. So we have another topic in the What and Why series. PFRS requirements and the reasons why. So in this video, I will discuss impairment of individual asset in accordance with PAS 36. So here's the outline. When to apply PAS 36? When is an asset impaired? Determining the recoverable amount. Computation of impairment loss. Reversal of impairment loss. Okay, so we'll have an illustrative problem to illustrate the requirements. Then we'll explain why. Okay, the reasons for those requirements. Okay, so first, what is standard to apply in accounting for impairment of assets? So these are the PFRSs on impairment of assets. PAS 36, title, Impairment of Assets. And PFRS 9, title, Financial Instruments. So PFRS 9 replaced PAS 39 effective January 1, 2018. Now notice the title of PAS 36, Impairment of Assets. So what does it mean? All assets subject to impairment under PAS 36, except those assets excluded from the scope. And one of the assets excluded from the scope, financial assets within the scope of PFRS 9. So for financial assets within the scope of PFRS 9, apply PFRS 9 and not PAS 36. So what does it mean? Okay, in general, PAS 36 applies to non-financial assets and financial assets not within the scope of PFRS 9. Okay, so maybe in a separate video, we'll discuss impairment in accordance with PFRS 9. So in this video, we'll discuss impairment in accordance with PAS 36. And for assets within the scope of PAS 36, the core principle, when is an asset impaired? Okay, an asset is impaired when the carrying amount exceeds the recoverable amount. So in accordance with PAS 36, an asset is impaired when the CA exceeds RA. Now, regarding the carrying amount, that is computed in accordance with applicable PFRSs. For example, for PPE, apply PAS 16 in computing the carrying amount. Now, what is recoverable amount? Okay, so in general, how to recover the CA of an asset? So there are two ways to recover the carrying amount. And what are those? Either sell the asset or use the asset. So either by selling or using the asset, the entity can recover the carrying amount of the asset. Now, technically, what is recoverable from selling the asset? Fair value less cost of disposal. It used to be cost to sell. Now it's cost of disposal. So technically, that's the amount recoverable from selling, okay, the asset. Now, what is recoverable from using the asset? Okay, that's value in use. So value in use, that is in general, present value of the cash flows expected to be generated by the asset. So inflows minus outflows. So yung net cash flows expected to be generated by the asset. And of course, eventually from its disposal. Now, sell or use, okay, to recover the asset. So whichever is what? Higher. So the higher of the fair value less cost of disposal and value in use, that is the recoverable amount. Now, that's the question. Why? Why whichever is higher and not whichever is lower? So let's see. An illustrative problem. This one. Okay, an entity has a non-current asset acquired at a cost of 25 million on January 1, 2018. Life, 10 years. The entity uses straight line depreciation method. The following additional information is available as of December 31, 19 and as of December 31, 20. Okay, first, as of December 31, 19. Okay, let's see if this asset is impaired. First, we need the carrying amount. Okay, cost 25 million. This one. Kung yan ay acquired on January 1, 2018, 2 years already as of this date. Okay, so 18, 19, so 2 years already. So no residual value. So to get the carrying amount, that's 25 million after 2 years times 8 over 10. So 8 years remaining as of December 31, 19. So 25 million times 8 over 10, the carrying amount is 20 million as of 12/31/19. Now, do we need to get the RA? So generally, entities are required to compute RA only if there is an indication that the asset is impaired. So kung wala namang indication na impaired yung asset, no need to compute RA except for 3 items of assets. Pero generally, kino-compute lang yung RA pag may sign na impaired yung asset. Okay? Now, in this problem, given yung fair value, cost of disposal, and value in use. So, fair value, 17 million. By the way, fair value is determined in accordance with PFRS 13. So, the standard on fair value measurements. Costs of disposal, 2 million. Kaya 17 minus 2. The amount recoverable from selling the asset, fair value, less cost of disposal, 15 million. The value in use given, okay, that is 16 million. So actually, yung pag-compute niyan, medyo mathematics yan eh. So you need to get the present value of the cash flows. So hindi ko na-emphasize dito yung mathematics portion. Okay, so maybe in another topic, in another video. So this is the situation as of December 31, 2019. Okay, amount recoverable from selling the asset, 15 million. From using the asset, 16 million. Now, if you are the owner of that asset, to recover the asset, what will you do? Sell or use? Of course, okay, you will just use the asset. You will benefit more from using than from selling the asset. That will explain why the higher amount is the recoverable amount. So the RA, 16 million. Okay, so again, the RA is the higher of the fair value less cost of disposal and value in use. Why? Of course, if you are the owner, to recover the asset, you will choose, okay? So the one that will benefit you more. So kung saan ka mas makikinabang, of course, yun ang pipiliin mong recovery method. Okay? So, at December 31, 19, CA 20 million, RA 16 only. So what does it mean? The asset is impaired. The difference, that's the impairment loss. So actually, ang core principle dyan, assets cannot be carried at more than the recoverable amount. So kaya kung ang CA ay 20 million, ang mare-recover lang ay 16 million, yung difference, hindi na yon asset. Yung portion na hindi na asset, anong treatment? Expense immediately. So ang tawag, impairment loss. So yun yung core principle ng impairment. Assets cannot be carried at more than the recoverable amount. At saan i-recognize yung expense na yan, yung loss na yan? Profit or loss. Unless the entity uses revaluation model. Kasi kung revaluation model, to the extent of the existing surplus, okay, recognize yung loss na yan in other comprehensive income. So generally, profit or loss yan, income statement. Pero kung revaluation model, treated yan as revaluation decrease. Okay, at kung meron niyang existing surplus, OCI. Okay, to the extent of the existing revaluation surplus. Then after recognizing the impairment loss, the CA written down to RA. Kaya after impairment, ito na yung carrying amount, 16 million. Yan naman yung naka-report sa balance sheet. Yan, 16 million. And this will affect subsequent depreciation. Okay, so actually, i-review yung useful life. So 8 years pa rin ba ang remaining? I-review yung method. Appropriate pa rin bang gamitin yung straight line? I-review din yung residual value. So in this case, walang ibang binanggit sa problem. Kaya assumption, no change in life. Kaya 8 years pa rin ang remaining. No change in method, straight line pa rin. No change in residual value. 0 pa din ang residual value. Okay? So again, in the balance sheet, carrying amount 16 million. In the income statement, expense 4 million. Impairment loss. Now, December 31, 2020. So ito na tayo ha. Okay. 16 million. Divide nga natin yan by 8. So no change in remaining life. So 16 million divide by 8. The depreciation for 2020, that's 2 million. So as of December 31, 2020, 16 million. Minus mo yung 2 million, ha? 2 million na depreciation. So 16 minus 2. Okay, carrying amount. At December 31, 2020, that's 14 million. 16 million minus 2 million depreciation. Okay, now, at December 31, 2020, fair value given, 20 million. Costs of disposal, 2 million. So the fair value less cost of disposal, 18 million. Recoverable from selling the asset. The value in use given, that's 19 million. Again, in this situation, what will you do to recover the asset? Sell or use? Of course, use the asset. You will benefit more from using than from what? Selling. Okay, again, that's the reason why the higher amount is the recoverable amount. So notice, this time, the CA is higher than, the CA is lower than the RA. So clearly, there is recovery in this case. So that's the next accounting problem. Reversal of impairment. Question, is reversal of impairment loss allowed? Answer, generally, yes. Okay? Kaya lang, merong limit yung extent of reversal. And what is the limit? This one. In accordance with paragraph 117 of PAS 36, so reversing an impairment loss for an individual asset, the increased carrying amount of an asset other than goodwill. So I discussed this one in a separate video. So yung impairment of goodwill. Attributable to a reversal of an impairment loss shall not exceed the carrying amount that would have been determined net of amortization or depreciation had no impairment loss been recognized for the asset in prior years. Ano daw? Yan, actually, noon akong binasa yan. Talagang ano daw ka? Okay? So, ano bang ibig sabihin ng requirement na yan? Ang ibig sabihin yan, basically, may limit yung extent ng reversal. Co-compute natin yung carrying amount kung i-disregard yung impairment. So, what if walang nangyaring impairment? Magkano dapat yung carrying amount? So, yung CA, after reversal, cannot exceed that amount. So, to illustrate, so in our case, okay, magkano nga yung cost ng asset? That's 25 million. At December 31, 20, kung nabili siya ng January 1, 2018, 3 years already. So, carrying amount, disregarding impairment. What if walang nangyaring impairment? That's 25 million times 7/10. So, disregarding impairment, dapat ito ang carrying amount niya as of December 31, 2020. Pero dahil impaired, magkano currently ang CA this one? That's 14 million. Okay? So again, anong requirement ng PAS 36? The increased CA, okay, attributable to a reversal of an impairment loss shall not exceed the carrying amount that would have been determined had no impairment loss been recognized for that asset in prior years. So kung walang nangyaring impairment, ito dapat yon, 17.5. Pero dahil impaired, magkano lang currently? 14. So, kung currently 14 million yan, pwedeng mag-reverse. Pero after the reversal, hindi pwedeng more than 17.5. Kaya ibig sabihin yan, yung maximum na pwedeng i-reverse, 3.5 only. So yung 3.5 million considered as reversal of impairment loss. At saan i-recognize yung reversal na yan? Since impairment loss is normally recognized in profit or loss, so yung reversal also recognized in profit or loss. Now, the question is, why? Why is there a limit on the reversal? Hindi ba 4 million ang impairment loss? Bakit 3.5 lang ang pwedeng i-reverse? Okay? So, actually, pag in-analyze natin yan, na-reverse actually lahat yung 4 million. Yun nga lang, in 2 ways. How? 3.5, tatawagin nating direct reversal. Kasi ito makikita natin sa profit or loss as reversal of impairment. Nasan yung 0.5? Yung 0.5, na-reverse din yun. Hindi nga lang natin napansin. Kasi na-reverse siya indirectly. How? through depreciation. Okay? So, yung 4 million, in effect, na-reverse lahat. 3.5 as reversal of impairment in P&L. Okay? Direct reversal yan. Tapos yung 0.5, lower depreciation. So, paano natin nasabi yun? So, let's compare the depreciation. So, ito yung naging effect of impairment on depreciation. Ignoring impairment, magkano yung cost? 25 million. Divide mo siya ng 10. Supposed to be, without impairment, 2.5 ang depreciation. But because of impairment, as computed earlier, magkano na lang? 16. Divide by 8. Naging 2 million na lang. So, disregarding impairment, 2.5. Okay? With impairment, 2 million. So, what happened to depreciation because of impairment? Decrease by 0.5. Lower depreciation is a form of reversal. Okay? So, lower depreciation is in effect income. Yun nga lang, indirectly. So, kaya na-reverse ba entirely yung 4 million? Yes, in two ways. 3.5 million direct reversal. So, yung 0.5 indirect, lower depreciation. So, that will explain why there is a limit. Kasi kung hindi nilagay itong limit na ito, magkakaroon ng double counting of the reversal. O, what if ang nireverse natin 4 million? So, mangyayari, hindi 4 million ang na-reverse. Lumalabas, 4.5 million. So, dahil nga na-reverse na yung 0.5. Okay? So, based on that, here's the alternative computation to get the reversal of impairment loss. We can actually start from the impairment loss. Kasi kung 4 million ang impairment, dapat 4 million ang ma-reverse. Yun nga lang, we need to consider what happened to depreciation because of impairment. And in this case, what happened? Decreased by 0.5. So, yung decrease na yan in depreciation, reversal na yan. Kaya kung na-reverse na yung 0.5, magkano na lang ang pwede pang ma-reverse? 3.5 na lang. So, that is the reason why there is a limit. So, to avoid double counting the reversal. Okay? Of course, kung ang naging effect ng impairment ay increase in depreciation rather than decrease, ang gagawin natin, add the increase in depreciation. Okay? Pati yung additional depreciation na yun, pwedeng i-reversion. In case nag-increase instead of decrease. And by the way, dahil silent ang problem, ang assumption natin dyan, anong model ang ginamit ng company? Cost. So actually, ang sabi ng standard, kaya hindi pwedeng i-recognize yung in excess of 3.5 or yung mag-i-exceed doon sa 17.5. Ang reason ng standard dyan, considered na kasi yun as revaluation. At dahil cost model, anong gagawin doon sa revaluation increase? Ignore. So, yun ang reason ng standard. So, what does it mean? What if the entity used revaluation model? So, ganito mangyayari dyan. Kung ang ginagamit ng company ay revaluation model. Okay? So, magkano yung RA? 19. Magkano yung CA? 14. So, if the entity uses the revaluation model, the difference is called revaluation increase. Normally, where to recognize revaluation increase? Okay, OCI. Other comprehensive income as revaluation surplus unless the asset is previously impaired. So in this case, dahil previously impaired yung asset, to the extent of the reversal, which is 3.5 million, profit or loss yan. Okay? Yung sobra sa 3.5, yun na yung revaluation. Okay? In OCI. So again, in case the company uses revaluation model. Of course, dahil nga ang benchmark model ay cost, pag walang binabanggit sa problem, use cost model. Okay, so that's impairment of individual asset, okay, including reversal. And the reasons why. So why use the higher of fair value less cost of disposal and value in use in determining RA? And why is there a limit on reversal? Okay? So again, if you learned something from this video, don't forget to subscribe. Okay? So thank you. Bye-bye.